Yes, welcome to Football Heritage TV on a day that my hair just won't look right. So I put a hat on and now I've messed it up. On a day where Alexander Isak has not travelled with Newcastle and all the conspiracy theorists are going mad. On a day where Chelsea are still buying 10 and selling 10. It's another day where Tottenham Hotspur are monitoring, keeping tabs on. We're interested. We're asking questions, but we're just not signing. But are we selling? Are we selling? Lots of reports this morning from proper reporters, by the way, the proper people that know, saying that Son, our captain, Heung-min Son, could be going to America to play for LAFC. We'll have a little look at that. I'm going to be joined in the next 5 minutes or so by Eugene from Persuasion as well. We'll get him on and we'll get his channel flying up the ranks. And I'm sure we'll have some other guests as the morning goes on. And of course, today is the day that the Spurs 5, those horrible Spurs 5 go live. The horrible blokes live tonight at 8 p.m. Just so you know, I'll be live on my channel at 7 as a warm-up, like the warm-up act. And then we'll all go over to the Spurs 5 together if you would like that. And I'm sure Sean will be doing something similar as well. Hang on, it's not very bright. There we go. A bit more light in here. Where to start? LAFC. Are they going to take Son? And the biggest question that I've got to talk to Eugene about in a minute is, does that mean we're going to replace him? Or do we already have the replacement in Matisse Tell? Now, this for me will tell us a lot about whether or not we're a proper football club or whether we're just here to make up numbers, which it seems we have been for a number of years. If we're a proper football club, Son will leave. We'll say, thank you very much for everything you've done, given us 10 great years. Let's bring in, I don't know, Mikatadze from Lyon. Let's bring in Matoma from Brighton. Let's bring in Kubo. You know, we can talk about names later. But if we just go with Tell, I think it will show that, again, we are not, I repeat, a serious football club. Now, lots of names I'm seeing branded around. Some people already saying no. The likes of Garnacho. I would absolutely have Garnacho replacing Son. Hey, that's just me. There are other names as well that we will get into. But there is a poll. So just before I bring on Eugene, there is a poll in the chat. This one is simple. It's got two options. Is Son leaving Spurs this summer? It's yes or no. There's no caveats to this one. No feelings. Yes or no. At the moment, 93% are all saying yes. 120 votes so far, and we keep going up. Bit of admin. Please know where your nearest fire escape is in your house or wherever you are. If it starts to burn, I don't want the blame of you dying in a fire to be placed on me. Everything else is blamed on me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We are now only 240 away from the magical 20,000. The link is pinned. So if you wouldn't mind putting that in. And believe it or not, I built that from scratch. Believe it or not, I built that from scratch. I didn't buy it. I built that from scratch. Let me bring in Eugene. Good morning to you, sir, out there in Malaysia. How are you? What's the time? How hot is it? And how are you?
Good morning to you, Savva. Sorry, good afternoon. I guess you're in afternoon now, right? Sorry, 10. Oh, you're still in the mornings. Yeah. I'm 5
in the
p.m.
morning. Yeah,
I'm in the afternoons. I'm reaching to the evenings, right? It's about 5:15 p.m. here in Malaysia. The weather, as usual, is hot as normal, right? In Malaysia, we're in the tropics, right? Hot, stuffy, humid. It is what it is. And of course, being a Spurs fan, nothing has changed, right? But I've got to say a few things first, Savva, right?
go for it.
I got to commend you first, right? You built your channel from scratch. You know, I was with you from day one too, right? And you have been with me before. I'm a few years ago. We've been together. We've known each other for a long time through the Spurs and all this, right? To tell the truth, right? I'm a lazy Spurs YouTube content creator. I've been doing this for 5 years, right? I've got 580 subscribers now. I've not complained. I'm not showing all this jealousy and all this envy and all that. embraced you guys as family, as the Spurs family for so long, right, Savva? But I'm starting to see all this pettiness and all that. And to tell the truth, screw them, right? And to tell the truth, right, it's a free market, bro. You do what you want to do, right? It's not a monopoly. It's a free market. That's why you don't call it a monopoly when it's a free market. So,
well, it is a free market, but
yeah. No, but let me finish, Savva.
Go for it, go for it.
The only thing I don't like is, right, because you are doing this for a living, right? And when people start to interrupt your living, right, trying to make money from this, right, this is where I draw the line. Nobody comes in between someone and trying to make a living. That is way out of line. And when you do that, you cross that line, right? You can go out there and do whatever videos you want, but once you do all the bad things that happened to you on, that day when you had your call-in show, that really crossed the line. Because we had this a few years back before you joined us, right? When I was doing shows with Will Stewart and Stel and all that, right? People used to come on, right? Live. We when we throw up the stream onto the chats, right? We used to do that a lot. And when they used to come on and they don't put on the camera first, we've had a couple of times when people actually brought out their dong, right? And they shook their bum on live. You get what I'm saying? So after that, we learned our lessons, and we said that please show your camera before. We need to see the face before you come on, right? But you know what happened?
I've learned my lesson.
Yeah, and when that day, what happened, right? That was way beyond, because that guy did show his face and blah blah blah. And when you brought him on, he changed his, and he went into whatever. But we don't go there anymore. We move forward with Spurs because we still haven't done much of anything. Okay.
Yeah. No, of course. Well, look, let's get into it then. Let's get into it. By the way, first of all, listen, Rob Belcher, I love that you're coming with it. I love this positive attitude, Rob. I love it. I love that you've got a positive feeling about today. I'll be honest, all my positivity has kind of died a death, if I'm brutally honest. And when you say, perhaps dare I say, Morgan Gibbs-White signed again, we'll talk about that a bit later because all the reports, Rob, are to the contrary because he has flown out last night to Portugal to join Nottingham Forest. So if Spurs were going to sign him today, it would be very weird that he flew last night to Portugal. But listen, we'll get into that later. Eugene, let's have a look. By the way, if one of my mods would please be so kind to stick the Persuasion TV link into the chat, and we'll see if we can get Eugene some more subscribers, please. Stick together. As I always say, subscribe to everyone, whether I like them or not. Subscribe to them. I'm not saying I don't like Eugene, but subscribe to everybody. Let's see. This is what Fabrizio Romano said. Let's be fair. We're in this day and age where many people can say things, but people only seem to care if it comes from 2 or 3 people. And you can see there that Fabrizio Romano has said that LAFC have approached Heung-min Son over potential transfer for this summer as their new superstar. Talks early stages. As I can't even see that, Paul Teneric reports as LAFC want to try, but Son and Spurs will have the final say. Well, of course, Spurs and Son will have the final say. Thomas Frank will also speak to Son and discuss the future. Very easy question from me to you to begin with. Is that for you? Is that a sensible move for all parties? A good move for Son to end his career? A good move for Spurs so we can move on and get somebody younger, somebody different, a new chapter? Or do you want to keep Son for another year?
Okay, Savva, I'm from Asia, right? My pride and my love for Son is immense because he has brought so much joy to us in the Asian side of this part of the world, being the only Golden Boot winner, right? Even though he had a share with Mohamed Salah that season, that brought us a lot of pride, right? And the links between Son and of course, in Asia and all that, he has galvanized the Spurs fans of Asia, right? But for me, I'm a very I'm a realist. You know me for so long. When it's time to go, it's time to go. So Son, for me now, right? Even from last season, I've seen him dropping off. Ever since I think Ange came in, he's been dropping off. Maybe the style of football doesn't suit him and all that, or maybe he's lost a touch, or maybe the pace he doesn't have the pace there anymore. But for me, he has. I mean, I'm a Spurs fan first, right? Son has. I'm going to categorize him in a category that not a lot of Spurs players have actually been able to do. He's been with the club for 10 years. Yeah, he's got a trophy. You get what I'm saying? We've not seen many players who've stuck with us. Of course, we got Ben Davis has got that trophy too, right? That is the conundrum. But Son Heung-min, for me, his time should be up, right? But it's all down to him and the club. And of course, it's the price that LAFC is willing to pay. And don't forget, Savva, we've got another player who's actually in LAFC, which belongs to Spurs, which is Hugo Lloris. Yeah, he's there too. So Hugo may be, telling Son, bro, I mean, I've got a World Cup, right? I have a trophy. That's why, I'm not too worried about the Spurs thing. But me, if I see it, you've really done your duty for Spurs, right? Even Harry Kane had to leave, right, to get a trophy. But you stuck on with Spurs and you showed your loyalty. And the Spurs fans will not hate you if you leave. Yeah, that's number one. All right, we will say what we said to Kane, right? Go, make your trophy somewhere else. We can't give it to you, but somehow another Son made his trophy with us, and we are so proud of that. You get what I'm saying? But when it's time to go, right? It's time to go. But my only question is that how much does that bald-headed see you next Tuesday once? Yes, if LAFC can pay 30 million pounds to 40 million pounds for Son, right? I think he'll be gift wrapped, right, and sent over there. But if LAFC is going to say something like, we're going to pay you 5 million pounds, 10 million pounds, right? Then that's when the haggling comes in. That's where I believe where the business part comes in. But of course, I would love Son to go there for 25, 30 million pounds because it put more money into our coffers, right? As I've been saying, right? We have to sell to buy. We've always been that have to sell to buy club. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Apart from once in a while, you get, like Kudus coming in, Solanke coming in, whether it works or doesn't work. And even this MGW thing, right? I always thought it's just like a smokescreen thing to I don't know. Me, I'm always the pessimist whenever Levy's in charge. So yeah, let him go. Let him go. That's what I'm saying. Let him go.
By the way, just quickly, just before we look at the LAFC squad and we'll see where Son fits in. Just quickly, some news on an ex-Spurs player as well. Look at this, Emerson Royal. Emerson Royal has said yes to the proposal received from Flamengo because it looked like he was on his way to Besiktas. And now Flamengo now expected to seal the Emerson deal with AC Milan as talks are well advanced, and Wesley will go to Roma. I tell you what, big up Emerson Royal. I've never known such a bad footballer play for AC Milan, Tottenham Hotspur, Barcelona, and the Brazil national team. I mean, what a legend. That man has made the best out of what he's got. Fair play to him. Somewhere, Barry, Nick, whatever you want to call him, is sitting there crying, proud of his boy, and buying a Flamengo shirt as we speak. I don't know where you would get such a thing, but Barry is buying one. Look, the interesting thing with this is the go-to place for players seems to be one of three places now. If they're going to leave the elite leagues, they tend to go to Turkey, they tend to go to Saudi, or they tend to go to the US. And I was just looking at LA. I'm going to bring it up. But I was just looking at LAFC's Wikipedia page. Before we look at their players, I was just looking at this. I found this hilarious. I don't know why, but if you see this bit here where my cursor is, can you see this, yeah? You can all see that, right? If you look where my cursor is hovering right around here, right? I just love that they've got part owners like Will Ferrell, Giorgio Chiellini, Magic Johnson. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's just like, it's typical American celebrity, high profile. But if I look down, look, we can see here that, the club, they've been going for 10 years. And the reason why I wanted to look at their squad was to see, do they have, most of the teams in America seem to have that big star. They've got that one player that is their superstar. I mean, you could possibly say that Hugo Lloris is that, but again, is a goalkeeper glamorous? And Sonny would go there and be the main man from what I can see, right? So it might be nice for him to go out on a bit of a, hey, I'm not as good as I was in the Premier League, but in this league, I'm really going to bang. Is that fair to say, or am I doing him a bit of a disjustice there?
No, Savva, I think it's basically your football evolution, right? While you grow older, you have to go to somewhere to play at the levels that you shine. You understand? And in America, I think each club has got 2 cheats or something like that, where they can actually break their wage structure to bring players in above whatever that's allowed. In this what call is it MLS, Major League
MLS.
Soccer, right? MLS. It's something like the NFL. There is not much of this relegation kind of thing, but they control it. Based on the wage structure. There's a salary cap. But each team is allowed 2 players, which you can actually go above that. I think Hugo Lloris was one of their superstars about 2 years ago when they brought him in, right? So now I think it's time for them to get another one, and they're looking at Son Heung-min because Son Heung-min not only brings in a football sense, right, bro? If Son goes to LAFC, right, man, imagine the amount of South Koreans, right, going to go there. It's like,
Eugene, suddenly the number of flights from South Korea to London is going to half, and the number of flights from South Korea to LA is going to be on the rise.
Double or triple, you know what I'm saying? And of course, and don't forget, right, there is a large South Korean community in LA. And that part too, you're talking about that. So for them, it's a win-win situation for them. But for us being a Spurs fan, like you were saying, right, for me is that if I was Daniel Levy, I have to see how much money I can get from Son. Okay?
Yep.
Us being Spurs fan is that we said, shit, okay, the last 2 seasons we have seen the Son that we used to have, and we've been seeing the shit that's been replacing him all the while, from Odebear to Tell to who else, Richarlison being played in that position. Like you were saying earlier, are we going to get in a Mitoma, I'm going to say even Garnacho, or another player of his level or quality to take over that spot? Or are we going to wait, and develop one to take over that spot? But by being Spurs, nothing has changed, and to tell the truth, me, I've lost that being angry at all this for a long time already. I'm always zen about it. So if it comes in, it comes in. It doesn't, it doesn't. Even when the Morgan Gibbs White deal was so close to the Kudus deal, and while everyone in the world was getting excited, I was just sitting down there. Yeah. Do you think, right, Daniel Levy, right, is going to spend 60 million upfront to pay for a player, right? And I don't understand where people already said that, he has already paid up that 60 million. Are you sure? I don't think so.
It's mad.
He doesn't do that.
There must have been a reason, right, that we triggered the extension. And there are 2 theories as to why we triggered the extension, right? One is because Daniel Levy, Enoch, whoever is running the football club these days wants the revenue that Son brings in from the Asian market. And the other is that, hey, we don't want to lose him on a free, so we're going to get some money from him during this summer. And you bring up a great point. What is that fee? What sort of fee can LA pay? I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know what LA's finances are like. For me, surely you've got to be looking at 30 million. Surely you've got to be looking at 25, 30 million as a bare minimum. He's got 1 year left on his contract. If not, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? But you also said at the beginning, we've got to sell. And we're going to talk more broadly about this in a minute, but we are so bad at selling, Eugene. Like we are dreadful at selling footballers. Honestly, whoever Chelsea are employing to sell their players, right? Get that man or woman over here and get them selling our footballers, because they go every day, so-and-so, sold. How much money do you think?
But Savva, hold on. You forgot, right? They got another shoot. I mean, they got somewhere else to dump their players, like another team called Arsenal. So it's easy for them to sell too. Right?
True.
Now, but what I'm saying is, like, that's what I've been saying. Instead of buying players now, right, we should go out there and put money on the Brighton's recruitment team, give them 10 million, take that whole squad over, put another 10 or 5 million to Chelsea. We are buying your people who are selling players, right? And then maybe we can move from there and really build a real squad now. But like you said, right, Savva, we have been really bad at selling players in this past 5 years or 8 years after Poch, you know. We lost money on Ndombele, and I think it's because we don't buy the players that in the end attract other teams to want to buy our players. We don't splurge out that quality money first to get quality money in the end. We always put on punts. You guys, you know, we put out a lot of cheap punts, right? 10, 15, 5 million all around. We spread it around, right? And when they come in, they don't get even the time to play for the first team. You don't get, you don't get exposure. You don't get people buying them. Simple as that. And now, like you say, Son, like what you were saying earlier, what is that price that the club is willing to let him go for, right? That is the main question now. A lot of people in the chat saying, can LA afford 30 million pounds? You can say that. Will LA pay 30 million pounds for him? Like you said, 1 year in his contract. Let's say even you put one more extension to it, he's got 2 years in his contract left. Will they pay that kind of money? Son is 33 years old, bro. Son is 33 years. And Son ain't no Messi, right? We all know that.
Yeah. And have they got, I mean, the question's got to be, we can sit here and say 30, 40 million. Have they got 30, 40 million? I mean, if anyone's an MLS expert, let me know. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know the finances, but I'll tell you what, let me have a look and see if I can see what their
finances. No, but Savva, the thing is that, let's say even we price Son at 30 million, right? They're not going to pay 30 million up front. It will be broken down into a 2-3 year installment thing. I'm saying, do they have that 5-10 million pounds up front to pay the club, price Son away? That is the first cost, right? Do they have the kind of money? But I mean, LAFC, 10 years old, most of their owners are celebrities. Maybe they do, right? I'm not sure. They're not being backed by one single billionaire, right? Who can just close his eyes and say, oh, here, take 30 million pounds and buy whoever you want, right? And that's not including his salary package. Don't forget, right? His wages, that has to come in too. Everything has to come into play. But at this moment in time, for Son Heung-min, I would say, if the price is right, we have to let him go, right? But that comes into the part of whether Frank wants to let him go. That's the first thing, right? And second, will Daniel Levy sit down there and do his calculations again and says that if I sell Son now, how much will I lose in the Korean market? Can I recover it from the transfer fee and blah, 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 right? But on the football-wise, we are saying, who are we going to replace him with?
Let me show you this, right? So this is LAFC's record transfers, right?
Okay.
This is their record transfers. You can see there 10.5 million. Hang on, let me just go into that screen and see if that's euros. So 10 points. So what's that? 9 million quid. Yeah. Their record arrival is about 9 million, 9.5 million quid, and we're talking about them trebling or quadrupling that to hit the numbers that people think they're going to get for Son. I think that there's going to be, I think if he does go, I think they're going to have to do one of these crazy deals, you know, where it seems to be everything but money. You know what I mean? Like there's some rights here, some rights there, and Spurs have a share in the club. Listen, this is one to watch, but let me show you just quickly. I'm going to do a super chat and I'll show you Spurs' record in the last 5 years of selling people, which is utterly shocking. Big up to my man SOF out there in the US. Big up to you. Thank you very much. Very, very generous indeed. He has said, morning guys, I've seen a bunch of 40-plus-year-old guys sobbing at the thought of Son leaving. Come on guys. Anyway, I think Garnacho joins Spurs as a new left winger. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll talk about that a bit later. God, look at, I shouldn't have put that hat on. I'll put the hat on for 1 minute. Look at the state of that. I think Garnacho joins Spurs. He fits the age profile and has worked with Cochrane at Man United. Now, big up to you, SOF. That's very, very generous. We'll talk. I'm going to bring this back up in a minute, SOF. I'm going to bring this back in a minute. Okay, I'm going to bring this back up in a minute because I want to talk about that in more detail. But this is Spurs. This is our transfers in the last. Let me see if I can blow that up a tiny bit. So what we're looking at is we're looking at the right-hand side of the screen, which hopefully everyone can see there. I mean, this is. Hang on, is that the top? Bear with me, callers. Bear with me. Yeah, so this is the top. So departures this season, it's saying, it hasn't shown the 1 million that we've got for Keeley. But other than that, you can see here, Højbjerg has gone for 13 million euros. No other money has come into the club. 13 million euros. And this is a deal that was agreed a year ago. If we go back to last year, look at the pittance we get for footballers. 5 million euros for Lo Celso, 11 million euros Roden, 15 for Royale, which I think was good business actually, and then Skip at 23 million euros, right? 55 million we made last year. You look at the year before, other than Harry Kane, which is obviously the anomaly, Winks for 11, Sanchez 9, Eric Dyer 3.5 loan, Jed Spencer loan fee. Look, the year before, Bergwijn was 31. Other than that, 7 million, 500k loan fee. We are dreadful at selling. Look at this. We are dreadful at selling footballers. We do not make money, Eugene.
Yeah. Now, the thing is that there's always been that myth, right? That I don't understand. From that time when we were the feeder club for Manchester United, you remember? When we used to sell Berbatov, Carrick, Sheringham to Manchester United. And then when the fans jumped on Daniel Levy and said that, then Daniel Levy changed his stance and said that I ain't going to be a feeder club no more. Yeah, but now he's become a hoarding club, in a sense. We just hoard the players and hang on to them, right, until their value drops, until they don't have any value. But that is also part of that. Our recruitment is the problem, because if you bring in average players and hope they become superstars, how many times are you going to be right, Savva? You get what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Agreed. You're not gonna hit it on nail on every time, right? You might have 20 nails and maybe you will get 1 nail correct. Like you're looking at our transfer windows in the past five seasons and all that. So our problem is from the recruitment, and that's why we ain't no Chelsea, because we don't recruit like Chelsea, because Chelsea goes out and buy players like Action Jackson, right? And all of a sudden, Action Jackson now is valuated at 100 million pounds. From where does that come from? Even I don't see that, but somehow or other, he's worth that. When they went out and bought Madueke, right? And Madueke was a Spurs Academy product, right? I think they got him from PSV or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, right? How much did he get? Did they buy him for 30 over million pounds? They kept him for about a year, 2 years, and now they rolled him over to Arsenal for 50, 55, or was it 48? They made a profit there. So if we go out, right, and start buying our squad players on an average of 30, 40 million pounds each, right, at a very young age, I mean, but not buy them from the championship, like, or clubs that are relegated, don't go out and get Archie Gray, Odebear, and all that. Go out to the European leagues out there and look for players who are in that range of 30, 40 million pounds. Then you can turn them over quickly if they don't work out, and you still get a value on them while you are showcasing them while they are playing for the squad. But Spurs has got this problem. We don't do that. We do the opposite, right? And the worst part is we don't even showcase our own youth academy players.
Right, it's mad. Well, that's and by the way, listen, my man Ash did make a point. I can't see the comment now. He did say Chelsea have saleable assets, but I do think I've just looked, and Chelsea have already this window sold 120 million of players, right? And right now as we speak, they're in the middle of selling Chukwuemeka, Renato Vega, Yao Felix. We're hearing this morning is now wanted by clubs, Sterling, and also Nkunku. They will make over 200 million this window in players that aren't even first team players for Chelsea.
Yeah,
that's the truth of it. They will make 200 million. We've got 13 million for Højbjerg. It's embarrassing.
But Savva, you look at their squad, right? Their squad was like 40 players last season. Okay, I'll give you an example what I'm talking about. Look at Liam Delap, correct? Liam Delap, right, is a 30 million pound player which Chelsea bought from Ipswich, right?
Yep.
And if Liam Delap, right, in the next 2 seasons, he gets out there, he plays a decent amount of games, but he's not working out for Chelsea. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's not scoring that kind of goals for Chelsea, the amount of goals they need, right? But it's average. He looks average. But in the next 2 seasons, right, if Liam Delap, if Chelsea wants to flip him, they'll flip him for 45 million pounds easily. You get what I'm saying?
But you know what, Eugene? They'll flip
We
him.
don't do that.
They'll flip him, and their fan base won't care. If you suggest selling any Spurs player, right?
Oh, dear.
Our fans go mad. Like
I know.
Like,
Imagine,
hang on, just quickly. The biggest 2 examples of this is look at Ndombele and Lo Celso, right? Ndombele and Lo Celso were at this club for 5 seasons, right? They both saw out 5-year contracts, right? In those 5 seasons, I think after the first 2, you can kind of go, this isn't working. Chelsea would have flipped them, right? City would have flipped them. Spurs fans, Spurs as a club, this is everybody, by the way, from club down to fans, right? Or maybe this manager will get the best out of them. And then what happened? We ended up having to what? We had to pay Ndombele's last 5 million of wages to him, didn't we, to get him out? And we sold Lo Celso for 5 million. So 2 players that between them cost roughly 100 million, roughly. I don't think we made anything because we paid Ndombele's 5 million. We got 5 million for Lo Celso, 0. We made no money from those 2 signings.
We lost money, pay the wages, lose on the transfer deficit, right? No, I'll give you an example, right, Savva? When Jose Mourinho was in charge of Manchester United, right? And there was a rumor out there, right, that Manchester United wanted Eric Dyer for 50 million, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't even sell him for 50 million. You understand? We hung on to them. That's why Spurs fans are a bit weird, because when we were feeder club to Manchester United, everybody was saying, oh no, we can't do that. And now when it's a good time to sell players, we don't sell it. We got this kind of PTSD thing of, selling players. Okay, I'm going to give you an example, right? We bought Archie Gray, right, for 40 million pounds, right? Imagine next season, right? If Frank says, I don't need him, he's no use anymore, right? And a bid comes in for him for 50 million pounds, right? You get what I'm saying? A bid comes in for him for 50 million pounds, right? Imagine our Spurs fan base will go crazy, especially Lubo.
Mate, listen, look, I'm not going to say just sell everyone, but there's no one at this club right now where I would not think about it. Like people lose their mind when I say, listen, if a 60, 70 million bid comes in for Romero,
take it.
Right? Kudus, people go 50, 60 million. Yep.
Take it.
Right? But the problem we've got is at the moment, we've got, by the way, just quickly, Estepanan has just completed his deal to AC Milan. He is now an AC Milan player. Leeds have just agreed a fee with Leon for the goalkeeper Perry. I think is it Lucas Perry? I might have made that name up. It's definitely no. I didn't make it up at all. It is Lucas Perry. The Leon goalkeeper is joining Leeds United, and also. Obviously, you've seen the news that Alexander Isak did not travel with Newcastle today, which will be sending their fans delirious. Apparently, it's an injury. I'm not sure if everyone's going to believe that. And the other news this morning that Spurs fans didn't want to see, we'll talk about in a minute, is Morgan Gibbs-White did travel to Portugal. And I'm now so bored of hearing the words Morgan Gibbs-White. I just wish we'd go and buy somebody else. But, Eugene, this is the problem, right? We have a huge squad. When people are saying we don't have a big squad, we have a huge squad. The problem we have is we don't have a huge squad of quality. And
correct.
It does seem that we are really, really struggling to move players on. Now, if I said right now to people, why are we struggling to move players on? You'll have a load of different theories. Is it Levy? Is it the players don't want to leave? Is it too comfortable at Spurs? But this is becoming a problem. We have got 1 million central midfielders. We've got 1 million wingers, but yet we still know we need another one on the left. We've got strikers galore, but we know we probably need another one. We've got 9 centre halves. We've got fullbacks. Eugene, I say someone, 5, 6, 7 need to leave, don't they? Like, we've surely got to get some players out.
But Savva, the problem is, right, we can't do a fire sale, right? We can't. That's the problem. Our club ain't doing that. You get what I'm saying? Our club is not going to say that, okay, Solomon, all these players that we want out, right? It's just 5 million ahead. We ain't gonna do that because we know that, you know, like you say, we're not gonna talk about whether it's the club or the chairman or whatever, right? In their day, there's always this thing where it comes in that, you know, his pride is always seen, right? He wants to buy the cheap player and try to get the highest from him. He's got this, I think, ego thing that when he bought Gareth Bale for how much was it? £5 million from Leeds at those days, right? And then he flipped Gareth to Real Madrid for 85 or 90 million pounds. That was the world record price at that time, right? He made a lot of money from it. So you know that doesn't happen anymore because players' prices has been inflated throughout these past 5 years, right? As money comes into football, becomes bigger and bigger, right? The actual value for the players are not what they are actually worth anymore. You get what I'm saying? Nowadays, when you buy players from Europe, bro, look at Gyökeres, right? Gyökeres now is being touted, being bought by Arsenal for what 68.5 plus add-ons, right? Gyökeres out of the EPL. We bought Solanke last season for 65 million pounds. That's the difference of 3 million pounds. We went to buy players like Kudus for 55, right? And then there's an example, if you go out, how much did Zubermendi cost? You know what I'm saying, sir?
Yeah, it was like was he 55, 60, was he?
Yeah, 55, 60. So the levels are there, but you know, you're not talking about now at the TK. Yeah, Hugo Etitike, was it the Frankfurt boy?
Yeah.
He's been, it's a done deal for him, 70 million. 69, 68, 70 million to Liverpool. You get what I'm saying? But we don't go out and get players like that. We'll go and, you know, look for something, right, which is much younger by 1 or 2 years and pay half the price and punt on it. You see, like what we've been saying earlier, we don't recruit quality. No, so when the time comes, we can sell them for a quality price, right? At the moment, we are recruiting punts, you know. It's like betting. It's like you're buying cryptocurrency now, you know. That's what I've been seeing. We've been doing this cryptocurrency kind of trade all this while. And when you can't sell them, you're stuck with it. And look at, I mean, sorry to say this, right? Look at what's happened to Ben Davies. He's still here after 12 years. Yeah. And there's no, and then and Savva, and there's not even news, right, of him leaving the club. Think about it.
It's I guess the question is, for example, if I look at let me bring this on screen. Here we go. If we look at just this window, and it's not finished, of course it's not finished. Get it? But if we look at these signings on the left-hand side, if I take Kudus away from that, again, it's a lot of hits, a lot of hopes, a lot of average. Now, listen, Takai could become the greatest centre-half in the world. I'm not doubting that. He could. I don't know. Ashley Phillips, we've just sent him out to Stoke again. Pointless signing. Kevin Danso, I don't mind him. Good centre-back. But again, it's if you were going to sell him, could you flip him for a lot of money? It's, again, Matisse Tell. Meh, it's not very exciting. It's okay. Vuskovic, I know everyone's losing their mind over Vuskovic, but again, another kid. So other than Kudus, you look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players there. From those 6 players, I look at it and go, meh, right? Now, if I scroll down to last window, look at it. It's like Solanke, Gray, Odebert. Yeah, Bergvall I think is going to be a very good footballer. Kinski, don't know. Tell, meh. You know, Min Hyuk Yang. You know, when you look at these names, there's nothing there where you go, we mean business. There's nothing like I've always said, Eugene, I have to be really careful here because people think I'm contradicting myself. I don't think we can compete with Liverpool and City, etc., etc. But for me, more often than not, our level of signing should be at the Maddison, Kudus level. That level is where we should be signing for me. The Maddisons, the Kudus, the Gibbs Whites. That is the level for me. But we seem to get a Kudus in, and then it's, we'll have Takai, we'll have Tell, we'll have hit and hope. And in 3 years, you and I will be sitting here, Eugene, in 3 years' time, we'll be sitting here going, God, look at some of these kids that we've had now. They were kids when we bought them. They're now 23, 24. They've done nothing for 4 years. Spurs can't sell them. They're deadwood. This is what we do. We stockpile.
Savva, that's the worst part. Look at the players that we brought in. Not even talking about this season. 3 seasons back, we got Valise, Phillips, Solomon, right? And we don't even see them play for the club. You guys know? And they go off on loan, right? In the end of the day, it's just a money-wasting exercise. Unless, you see, I don't understand the football business model in the football, right? No matter how you want to talk about it, yes, the club has its business model as a club, right? The footballing side has a business model as a footballing side, right? You have to buy players of a certain quality, right? Where in the end of the day, where you flip, where you don't lose money, right? The only thing most probably you will lose is the wages being paid to the players. But if the players do well, they bring you trophies, they bring you cups, and they bring you glory, right? That's being paid for their wages. But when you're talking about transfers, just plain transfers, right? 10 minus 5, okay, we've lost 5 million, right? If we buy it for 10, right, and then we sell it for 20, we made a profit of 10 million. But we don't do that anymore because the quality, like you said, we can't do that. Our recruitment is the problem. And we have not resolved this recruitment problem ever since Hitchens left. You know, since Poch left, since Hitchens left, we've been going through this recruitment problem all the time. You understand? And we brought in, I mean, apart from Paratici, right? He's been here for, I don't know, football director and consultant, and now I don't even know what his position is.
Yeah,
right? He could be just, I don't even want to talk about it, But then along the way, right, we've seen all these changes going through the footballing side, right? But I do not understand is that who are these people in the actual footballing side? Who are the recruitment people? Who are the scouts, right? Who are the people who recommend? But of course, we always say in the end of the day, who actually signs off the deal will, of course, be Daniel Levy. We've been seeing him do that for the past 25 years, correct? Who will come to Spurs, right? If you are just going to be punting, anybody will come to Spurs. We can go down, right, to the championship, right, and do our shopping there. You get what I'm saying? If we do our shopping at the championship, right, how many of the players coming from the championship, right, is going to be guaranteed first team position? Apart from last season, I think Archie Gray was the only one because we didn't have a choice, right? We bought Archie Gray in as a smokescreen of actually trying to get a defender. In the end of the day, everyone is shouting Archie Gray is number 6, a central midfielder, but he's been played out of position. But we played Archie Gray, right, 99% of the time as a defensive player, right? From left wing to right wing, from left centre back to right centre back, he's been doing all across. From there, now we've changed the manager again. That comes to another problem. We've not had a stable manager for the past 5 years. Poch was the 5 years there, right? Then came in Jose, he went out. Then comes in Nuno. Nuno was there for 10 games, he goes out. Then it was Conte. In the past, from Poch time, 4 or 5 years, we've had how many managers, full-time permanent managers? I'm not talking about interim, because if you talk about interim, right, Ryan Mason has been our manager 3 times or 4.
Yeah.
Right? That's the weird part. So you're talking about 4 managers. So the philosophy changes time to time. The only thing now we can hope is if Frank comes in, right, and we do actually focus on our football, right, and actually recruit quality, right? And I don't mind having that young profile thing, right? But that young profile thing must show he has quality. You can say, like now we're all losing our heads with Vuskovic, right? Remember last season during the friendlies when Scarlett was scoring goals, right? Who else was scoring goals? Everybody was scoring goals, right? When the youngsters came out and we were losing our head too. When the season started, right? We didn't even get a sniff of them. Didn't even see them near the bench.
This is why. So like, I was having this chat with Sean the other day, and obviously, Sean, get excited, and I'm like, but hang on, I heard all of this last summer. All last summer, I was told Donnelly's going to be the man. I was told that
Divine.
Scarlett Divine. I was told that Gray's going to play in central midfield. All of this. And then the only time we saw any youngsters was when we had injuries. Look, just quickly, I want to move on to a few bits. I do want to move on to a few bits. And I want to I want to talk about, first of all, I want to talk about Morgan Gibbs-White. Then I want to look at Garnacho and Paulinho as well. Because there's been a little bit of news on Paulinho. And when I say news, as a Spurs fans, we clutch at any bit of transfer news we can get. It's that sad being a Spurs fan at the moment. It's amazing what 2 weeks can do. Now, this is what was said this morning. This isn't massive news, by the way. This was John Percy from the Telegraph, who was just backing up his story that he said on the 21st of July, so 3 days ago, that Morgan Gibbs-White has not travelled with Forest. And everyone went, oh my God, he's signing for Spurs. He's not gone on tour. It's amazing. And then he said today, Morgan Gibbs-White is now in Portugal with the team for pre-season after flying out last night. So that was 2 hours ago. We know that he's out there. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean, oh my God, a deal is off. Lots of people, I think, are losing their mind going, I can't believe him. He clearly doesn't want to join us if he's gone on pre-season. Isn't he just going about his business? Like, he's a professional footballer that's contracted to Nottingham Forest. He's gone out on loan with them because they pay him. And it's down to the two clubs to get this sorted. But the question I'm going to ask you more importantly than that, how bored are you of this Morgan Gibbs-White situation? And don't Spurs just need to move on now?
Savva, you know me, right? I've been doing Spurs YouTube content for the past 5.5 years, right? We go through this shit every transfer window. It doesn't change, bro. It's the same. It doesn't matter if it's Morgan Gibbs-White or whoever, right? You know,
it's different this year. It's different, Eugene. We're going to win the league this year. Come on, it's different.
You know me, right? I'm the most zen Spurs content creator because I've always been saying nothing has changed, right? Until they're in the stadium holding up that shirt, right? Making that intro video, right? Then I'll believe it. The Morgan Gibbs-White thing was a conundrum to me. When we were all hyping Kudus at the time, and all of a sudden when this news broke and here we go, I was the first person that says, are you sure? Right? The next thing came out, right, was, oh, there's a dispute in the contract. Then there was this drama coming out that there was a breach of an NDA. I'm going, what the fuck? If that was a release clause, right? Unless, right, Spurs went in and threw in a blind bid, didn't actually know there was a release clause there, right? Wow. And just said, no, let's put 60 million pounds on the Morgan Gibbs-White, upfront cash. Come on, bro. You're talking about Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy ain't going to give you upfront cash for nothing. We know that. We've been through it, right?
Are we blaming Levy for this? Are we blaming Levy for Gibbs-White?
I'm not really blaming Levy for this. I'm blaming all the here we go ITKs, right? Who say that, right? 60 million pounds up front. Bro, Daniel Levy will negotiate till he dies before he gives you a penny. We know that, right? He's not going to throw 60 million up front. Oh, and wait, Savva. The best part is what? Oh, Levy is no more in charge of these things. That's right. Are you sure? Levy is no more in charge of these things? I don't think so. But okay, come back to Gibbs-White thing. Drama, legal suits, fat Matt, right? Getting all involved in this. And I've been telling Spurs fans, by the time Morgan Gibbs-White becomes a Spurs player, right, it's going to be 2030, right? But then I'm going to pity Morgan Gibbs-White because you know why? Next year, it's World Cup, bro. He needs to play. He needs to prove himself to Tuchel that he's a good player to be in that squad. So do you think Morgan Gibbs-White, right, ain't going to go to pre-season friendly with Nottingham Forest? Of course he's going to go there. He's going to maintain his fitness because he's not going to sit back and wait for 3 weeks for Spurs to sign him, right? He has to maintain match fitness all the way until the season starts. He can't be lagging behind because it's World Cup season. World Cup is coming up soon, So why are we Spurs fans not moving on? Why are we still being bamboozled by all this TK BS every day? I think the interesting
thing is, before people saying, welcome, Mark, welcome to the Cook Meister.
Big up, everyone.
It looks like that looks like a good colour tea, that. I like that. That looked like a good coloer, Mark.
It's looking good, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the black one, Eugene? Is that the black one? Well, is it? Yeah. I quite like
the day when we beat Reading, right? Then when we beat Reading, that's when I thought, okay, I'll put in, and it's only £6, bro.
Fair enough. Listen, you do what you got to do. Listen, I do think, I don't want to spend ages on Gibbs White. I do think that with this, I think we've got to be very careful. Lots of fans are saying things like, just hand in a transfer request. I think the difficulty that we've got at the moment is we don't know what's going on between Spurs and Forest. We don't know if the Premier League are involved. We don't know if, if any deal can be struck. So Morgan Gibbs White, and I've had this debate with Danny before you hand in a transfer request, Cookie, you've got to be very confident that a deal's going to go through. Otherwise, you make a rod for your own back. If you hand in a transfer request and that deal doesn't get through and you don't end up moving, you've now pissed off your teammates, the club, the fans, everyone. And now you're starting at a deficit. So I understand why he's not so far, depending on the news that comes out. But Mark, we've got to move on from, like, if we're not going to get him, yeah, and it's now 2 weeks down the line, surely we move somewhere else. There are other footballers, Mark.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. I mean, big up to everyone as well. Eugene, Savva, everyone in the chat. Hope everyone's well. Just another small YouTuber that Savva's letting popping on, just letting you know. Happy days. Yeah, for me, it's just a case of Morgan Gibbs White. Obviously, the club want him. Yeah, they're persevering with it. They know what's going on at the other end. Yeah, or hopefully they do. So you're right in what you say, that there has to be a line drawn, yeah, to where you think, oh, I don't know, yeah, if we're getting here, and we have to move on to other players of that ilk that are in that position. How long you wait for is only up to them. I mean, we get frustrated as fans because, news comes out, then it all stalls. Typical Tottenham, It looked like a couple of weeks ago, Kudus, Gibbs White, in 24 hours, Spurs were moving differently. But 2 weeks later, or nearly 2 weeks later, we're where we was 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, Gibbs White, for me, love him. I'd love him, Sav. And I'm sure there's plenty out there that would love him, and there's plenty that wouldn't. But to me, he improves the first 11, like Kudus does. And we need more players that are coming into the first 11 to improve our squad.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, look, the key thing for me with all of this, is we just want better footballers than what we've got. This is why I didn't want Tell to come in. This is why I didn't want these players to come in that were very, very underwhelming. I want Kudus, good signing. I don't think anyone can knock that. Kudus, you look at it and you go, is he better than any winger at the club? By a mile. He's better than anything we've got on the wings by a mile. Morgan Gibbs White, for me, is better than any midfielder we've got at the club. Get him in. Paulinho, we'll talk about him in a minute. Get him in. But I think this is the frustration, is that every time we sign a young player, you have that portion of fans that go, oh, what have you got against young players? Why? And it's not that I do. It's that we've got loads. Surely, we've got about 19 young centre-halves that we can bring through before we buy another one. We've got Jamie Donnelly in attacking midfield as a young player. We've got Alfie Devine. You've got Mikey Moore. You've got Odeberg. You've got Yang. You've got these people that are already there. But we go, I'll tell you what, let's block their path. Let's buy another young kid that we need to develop at the same time. And this is exactly what we did. And I know Lubo hates me talking about this. This is exactly what we did last year by bringing in both Bergvall and Gray as central midfielders. How do you possibly develop both of them at the same time? You don't, right? You don't. We saw that Bergvall, who's superior to Archie Gray, he got the nod. And now you've got a young player that has not been developed in any way, shape or form. Yeah? Everyone thinks that I'm cussing him. I'm not. But he's not been developed in any way, shape or form, because where does he fit in? But I want that to move on to, right, away from young players, guys. We've had a few bits of news. So this was Florian Plettenberg yesterday, and I will move it on to today. Florian Plettenberg yesterday said, Tottenham Hotspur, and this is my favourite bit, we're monitoring. You know the way I'm monitoring Margot Robbie just to see if she's become available on the market. We're monitoring João Paulinho and his situation. It is not concrete. I mean, it never is. Spurs don't have cement. Apparently, there's no cement on our side of North London. It's not concrete. But there is interest. Paulinho's camp have been informed Bayern are open to talks should suitable offers arrive for the 30-year-old. Now, off the back of that, what we've seen is we saw this from Mike McGrath this morning. Mike McGrath has said this: Tottenham plot. I love this. I love that. We were monitoring, now we're plotting. I love these words. Tottenham plot João Paulinho move as LAFC make a bid for Son. And off the back of those two reports, I've been sent this from more on that story, was that Tottenham are working on a deal to sign João Paulinho from Bayern Munich. This is still according to Mike McGrath of The Telegraph, I believe. He said sources in Europe believe there is a strong possibility that Spurs will be able to reach an agreement for Paulinho. Are you ready for the kicker, guys? Are you ready for the kicker? But they may need to sell a player first. Guys, what the... I mean, how shit are we in the market? How shit are we?
Saga, look at our transfer record, right? When have we bought a 29-year-old player, right, to come into our squad as a first teamer? When have we done that in the last 5 seasons? Have we ever done that? Look at it. I to my record, right? I've been doing this for so long, right? I've not actually seen that, right? A 29-year-old.
Edgar Davids.
No, I said last 5 seasons, bro.
I'm clutching at straws.
Edgar Davids actually from Real Madrid was a really good buy then, right? We were jumping up and down. You get what I'm saying, right? But we're looking at now, the last 5 seasons after Poch. We don't do that. Paulinho is out of our profile. I'm just telling you guys, right? I'm just going back to this Morgan Gibbs White thing, right? The Morgan Gibbs White thing, right, is a smoke and mirror screen. It's putting Spurs fan base, right, so engrossed into one subject, and we're losing our touch on the other things. You know, it's like it's not important about that. Paulinho, we can put in Paulinho there. We can even go for Lionel Messi if we want to now, right? We can be linked to him, monitoring him, looking at where is he pissing and all that. You get what I'm saying? But when you talk about profiles, Paulinho fits the football profile, right? We need a player like that, right? There are players out there. Paqueta, remember when he was with West Ham? He was one of the players I wanted to. Paqueta was, he dominated that midfield, right? He was in control. But we don't go for players like that because, number one, it doesn't suit our profile. If Paulinho was 27, 26, yes, that would have been a very, very good profile for the club. But at this moment in time, we don't know whether we're going to change our stance on players, right? Bring them in, and it comes down to the price. How much does Bayern Munich want him for? Are we going to get him for 30 million euros, 25 million euros? If it's cheaper, then most probably it will be a good punt for the club. That's how I see it. But if it's too expensive, it's just another.
Let's be fair, this guy's not. Everyone said that this guy, apparently Bayern Munich want like 25 million euros, 30 million euros. Now, Cookie, I understand he's 30. But right now, what is the harm of Tottenham Crash FC having a grown-up in the midfield, even if it's for 2 years, right? Bringing in Paulinho, it gives you a bit of breathing room over the next few years to spend more money in the next few years to bring in a younger Paulinho. But what on earth are we like? Deals like this should not be tough to do. If Chelsea wanted Paulinho, this deal would be done in 48 hours, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I like Paulinho. I think he's, like Eugene said, he's the type of profile we need. DM, breaks the play up, sits in front of the back 4 or 3, wins the ball, gives it to better players who do better things with it. He is that type of player for me. As far as the age is concerned, I don't see, as people have said in the chat, and Eugene said, he's not our profile of player because of his age. Yeah. But for me, to bring someone in like that, yeah, and you spent 40 million quid or the best part of the year earlier on a lad that's come in and that's meant to be a DM, right? So what is the best way for these younger players to learn is to have better players in your squad and then let them slowly progress to become, hopefully, that type of player. We've seen what happens when you just chuck an Archie or a Bergvall in when they're not experienced. They struggled. There's no doubt that they struggled, you know. So a Paulinia coming in, a Morgan Gibbs White coming in, even though he's still pretty young, to bring on a Bergvall, in that centre of midfield. I don't see what the harm is. But Spurs won't do it, mate. They won't do it. He's 29. He's too old. But to me, that's a load of rubbish. If he's good enough, get him in to do the job. We're meant to be getting players in that take us to the next level. And we're just not doing that, man. Again, it's just stopped dead again.
The funny thing is, right, I don't know whether or not this is a modern day thing. And I'm going to go on a limb again and say that everyone on this panel is over the age of 40. I'm just going to have a little guess that we're all over the age of 40, right? Maybe not you, Cookie. Maybe not you. But, I see loads of fans now that go, oh, he was 30 about 2 weeks ago, by the way, right?
Right.
Oh, he's 30. We need younger. Why? What? You know, I look, Man United have Casemiro in midfield. How old's Virgil van Dijk? How old's Mo Salah?
Yeah.
How old are, you look at Thiago Silva was captaining Chelsea till about the age of 412. You know, Harry Kane is 32. Harry Kane's 32. Sonny's in our team at 33. What's wrong with bringing in an experienced head, Eugene, to calm things, to settle things? You know, stick him in midfield. And you know what? Oh, Sean and I did it the other day, right? We did it the other day. I'll do this in the background. Answer that question, Eugene, and I'll do it on the background. Go on. What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong bringing him in, right? Like we said, we need the experience to bring up the youngsters, to lead them, to teach them how to be a better player, to be a leader and all that. But the problem is that it's what we do, right? Our fan base has been so brainwashed by the club that we are always rebuilding. We're always in this youth project. And while we are doing this, right, we ain't going to improve to the next level because we are stuck at this level, right? And the worst part, being stuck at this level, right, we've actually regressed. You know, at one period of time, right, we were challenging the Arsenals, the Liverpool, the Man Cities, and the Chelseas. Then after that, we fall back. Then we were in the lower parts now. Now we are challenging, and then we were challenging against the Newcastles and the Aston Villas. Now we've even dropped further back. We're going to be challenging the Evertons, right, and the Bournemouths, right, and the Fulhams, and even the Wolves. You see, so we ain't gonna improve and build up to the next level if we don't have that maturity in there and the levels of the players who actually. You need that balance and that mixture. You need players, you know, when they come in to do a job. We've been buying players and playing players out of position for the past too many years, right? We don't utilize the players to their strengths, right? That's why now, like you were saying earlier, you're not that excited about this coming season. But for me, I'm slightly excited is because number one, Frank is here. I'm going to be excited for him to show me that he's going to play these players to their strengths, right? And find out where our weaknesses are and improve on it. And if Paulinia can do that, of course we should go and get him. But I still come back to the point is that he is not the profile player that the club wants. We all understand that, right? Cookie and I, we're above that level of 40s, even way beyond, above that. We've seen our club do things that, past 25 years, it's always been the same. But if it does change, I hope it's just not him, right? Because we do need a lot of experience, about maybe in the centre back part, not that much. Midfield, we need Paulinia, and for the experience, we might need even more experience. Let's say when Son leaves, right? Why can't we bring in a Mitoma? He's 28, 29, right? He can come in. He can groom, or sorry, I'm not saying that word, right? He can actually, he can actually bring players and give his influence to players like Odebear, teach them how to be like him, how to take on players, how to actually, when you take on a player, right, put in a proper cross. You can take on a player and you can't even put in a proper cross. What's the point? In a sense or not? You must be able to do the whole, from A to Z, just not A to B, right? So players with experience must come in to bring up our standards. That's all.
Let me show you this. Guys, right? Now this is pie in the sky. I say it's pie in the sky stuff. Most of these players were already at the football club, right? Have a little look at that team, right? So the back five are all there: Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Udogie. I've stuck Paulinho just to sit, just sit, hold, anchor everything. Then you've got the playmaker of Maddison. Gibbs White is your box to box. Kudus on the right. Solanke's going to play through the middle, and Son. There's the question mark on the left hand side. How much better as a football team do we look there, right? And notice, other than Udogie, who is what, 21, maybe?
22, I think he's.
22?
Yeah, 21-ish. Yeah.
No one's a kid.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But you've got the DM in there. Now, I could also do this. I can also change that formation to be more to what Frank plays in a 4-2-3-1, and they nearly got that right. And you could do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Yeah. Now, look how much more solid we look. Now, that is between Gibbs White and Paulinho, you're talking about £80 million. £80 million. Now, obviously, we know the situation with Gibbs White, but Paulinho for me, and it doesn't have to, by the way, guys, I'm only saying Paulinho because he's the one we're being linked with. But look at the difference that makes. Look how strong that looks compared to if that's Saar or Bergvall or Gray. Look at, do you know what I mean? It's a man. It's a powerful player. It's a defensive unit. You know, I just don't understand how we can't see this as a football club. I don't understand. And if they are seeing it, get it done. Get Paulinho in. Get him on that plane to, I mean, when do we go to South Korea? 6 days? We're flying 6 days to South Korea? Like, it just seems too obvious.
Another one, Savva, if I can mention as well, and I know he's on the older side. I know you like him as well, but I think we also need someone who can carry the ball, up the pitch, draw those fouls in, Thomas Frank is a bit of a set-piece man as well, So, what's wrong with Jack Grealish?
I knew you were going there. Look, I beat you to it. I knew you were going there.
What's wrong with that? To me, you know, he's picking the ball up in midfield. If Gibbs White's wherever he is, he's taking the ball up the left. He's also, as well, again, he's not a winger, so he will cut inside on his right foot like Kudus will on his left, which gives Udogie and Porro all the room in the world to be going down the outside to be putting these crosses in. You know, it just makes a bit of sense. It's just when you look at it, I don't see why we wouldn't want that. But again, he's 29, whatever he is, he's 29. You know, you can say the same for Vlahovic up front. Why don't we go and get a Vlahovic? Everyone will say he's on 300 grand a week. Well, that's fine. So Tottenham, use your noddle, give him a bigger signing on fee, give him bonuses, give him whatever for scoring goals, for doing this, for doing that, and give him 170 grand a week. I don't see why we can't do stuff like that.
But by the way, just quickly, by the way, see, this is what frustrates me. Look, a team, Man United have just made all of the big broadcasters now are reporting this, that Man United have made fresh contact with Aston Villa for Ollie Watkins. And, you know, I'm looking at Man United knew they needed a whole new front line, and they've gone Cunha and Buemo, and now they're looking at Ollie Watkins. Spurs know what we need, and it's just like drag and drag and drag. We're not serious. We're not a serious football club, are we? We're just not. We are what we are.
Yeah, we've been there, Saga, right? It's not the first time we've done this, right? Our transfer windows has always been like that. And then it will come down to the last day on deadline day when everybody starts to panic. Then we'll do panic buys. That's why we always get our recruitment wrong. You guys, you know, like you're talking about, okay, talk about Grealish, right? Okay, let's say if we are willing to fork up that 300K a week for Grealish, right? Right. The thing is that, number one, right, like what I've been saying, it doesn't fits the club profile, and especially with the salary, the wages that he's taking, right, is way out the window. And the third thing is, right, that will actually hurt Daniel Levy's ego, bro. He could have gotten Grealish 5-6 years ago, right? or 8 years ago when we were trying to break Aston Villa's neck, right? Because at the time they were in some kind of financial trouble, right? When Grealish, he offered £8 million for Grealish or something like that, while the Singaporean owners wanted 15, right? And then all of a sudden there was a takeover, and then the new owners came in and showed Denley the finger, and if you want Grealish, it's 25 million now. Then we stepped away. 2-3 years down the line, they sold him for 100 million. So that hurts his ego too. That's why we ain't even linked to him. You get what I'm saying? No? So we are linked to a lot of players, but we're not even linked to him now. But when you talk about Paulinho, like I said before, it fits the footballing sense. Vlahovic, right? He might come for 200K a week. We tested the waters? We do not know, right? And Savva, we've been linked to Vlahovic since when? Conte days? Jose days? Right? From then, right? So it's the same thing. So the only thing is like now, Watkins, you talk about Ollie Watkins, right? Why didn't we go for Ollie Watkins, right? 2 seasons ago, instead of get Solanke in? When we lost Harry Kane, right? We should have put that money on Watkins if we were serious, but we weren't. But now, of course, Watkins is going to link to Manchester United, and good luck to them, right? But being a Spurs fan, sitting down here, we've seen this, and I've been saying this, nothing has changed, right? Yeah. Everything is always a PR smokescreen BS that goes round and round and round, and then it's fed through the IT case. It makes the fan base excited. Then we get, distracted again. Morgan Gibbs White is a distraction, right? Why? And to tell the truth, right? This transfer window is one of the weirdest transfer window because it's like in a period of from the beginning of June until the end of August. It's like a 3 months transfer window. We've never had that before. And for being a Spurs fan, the longer the transfer window is, right, the more torturous is it. You get what I'm saying? It's just torture because we don't go out there like a Liverpool. Frimpong, Words, right? At the TK, right? Their business is more or less done. But now they are looking to sell. They need to get rid of who? Luis Diaz, right? And they got a couple more players. And the best part is, right? They know, right? They're going to lose Konate next season to Real Madrid. So they're already preempting their Mark Guehi, his replacement, to come in, right? And don't forget, Virgil van Dijk. He's getting old too.
This is a big club that are looking to the future. They're looking at now. They've got players for now and players for the future. Spurs are always buying for the future. We never buy for now. Like, I don't care if we have a window where we bring in 3, 4, 27, 28-year-olds. I don't care. Yeah. Worry about it in a few years. Right now, again, people in the chat are talking about Kobe Mainu, but for me, again, Kobe Mainu's another young player that hasn't really done a lot in football. Yes, he looks promising.
Is he 18 or 19?
I think he's about 20 now, is it? I don't know, but the point is that we've got Bergvall, right? You don't need another young midfielder in that profile, but it just, I don't know. The club do it, and you're right. We've fallen for it as a fan base because the majority of the fans now talk as though, oh, we can't get him. He's 27. He's 28. Look at the people saying, is Grealish past it? Grealish is 29 years of age, right? If 29 is past it, bloody hell, guys, put me down. 29. I've got no. If 29 is past it, then we need to replace Solanke next year because he's 28. Yeah. If 29 is past it, what are we going to what are we going to do soon? Vicario, Romero, they're all getting there.
Yeah. Well, it also just shows you as well, Savva, if they're paying 65 million for Solanke, even though he fitted the wage bracket, right, for Levy, if they're paying 65 million or whatever it was for Solanke, at 28, it proves Spurs will go and buy players of that age. So there's players out there for less than 65 million quid, right, a lot less, that are of Solanke's age. So what is the problem with going to get those players? Whether it be the odd loan or whether you're going to pay money for them.
And this is what we do.
That's spot on.
Yeah.
So we buy from lower level teams in trouble or opportunities, right? We never ever, like right now, if you look at a Jack Grealish, right? Man City aren't in any financial trouble, right? Go and buy him. Go to Jack Grealish and go, Jack, it's a world. Even, what about this, guys? Even, guys, Man City, Jack Grealish, we want him on loan for a year with an option or an obligation to buy, right? Have the chat with Jack Grealish. Jack, we know the last year or two's been a bit tough. City buy a lot of players. They've got a lot of younger wingers. This is a World Cup year. Come, play on our left-hand side and force your way into Thomas Tuchel's England team. We'll pay 200k of his 300, 400k wage, whatever. But we never seem to make that sort of signing. We never seem to get that type of deal over the line where you go, that's a good loan. Like Villa loaning Rashford, right? Smart, sensible. There was no risk. There was no risk to them. They bought him in, right? He did well for them. Same with Asensio. There was no risk to it. Paid a lot of money, but there was no risk. At Spurs, we'd rather go, Werner. We'll get Werner on loan. It's easy.
Does Werner on loan, Matisse Tell on loan. Savva, okay, there's another part of this, right? What Spurs Rule says, right? We only buy from troubled teams, right? And try to get the youngsters cheap and all that. Why didn't, okay, for example, now, McAtee is a youngster, right? A quality youngster that we can get, right? Harvey Elliott from Liverpool, a quality youngster that we can get, right? But why are we going for quality youngsters like that? That's one thing. Not even talking about the seasoned players. And you're talking about Harvey Elliott, even though he has not played a lot of games in the Premier League, right? But for his young age, right? He's been exposed to the Premier League quite some time now. You get what I'm saying? Like McAtee too. So we don't go for that type of players. I do not know why. It's maybe, I don't know, maybe the chairmen and the owners don't look, they don't like dealing with each other. Maybe that's why we don't go for players from this type of side, right? And let's say, even from Chelsea, right? You're talking about Arsenal taking Chelsea's players, right? Why can't we go and take a few Chelsea players? Like, how did Cole Palmer, how did Chelsea, Cole Palmer, was he from Man City?
Yeah.
They got it from Man City, right? How did that happen, right? Why didn't we go for Cole Palmer, right? That's the problem. Recruitment is our problem. And we've been allowing our recruitment having this problem for too long. Maybe it's not fully their problem. Is maybe they have been put in a bubble where they have a certain profile that they have to go out and get. And in that profile, in that price range, maybe that's where we are stuck at. Like now, we must break that bubble and try to get out of this, what called cycle that we go through every transfer window, every season. We go through the same cycle over and over again. And we've been seeing it for what? Past 25 years? 15 years or so. And like you said, we don't buy intelligently. We don't sell intelligently. And we buy not too intelligent players sometimes when I see it, right? So that's the worst part. And the worst part is that you get intelligent players come into a squad trying to do the proper things, then it frustrates him because he's surrounded by idiots that don't understand the ball or how to play the type of ball that needs to play. So then you get that conundrum through. Everything needs a balance from the age to the type of skill that we need to actually build a proper squad that is challenging for everything. You can see, not only one thing, but everything. But being a Spurs fan sitting here, like I always say, nothing has changed, right? Until they're holding the shirt in the stadium doing the intro video, then I'll believe it. If not, we just sit back, enjoy the torture of the IT case, putting out. We are monitoring, we are linked to, we are what? Well, all the, like Daigle says, right? He's got this, what called bingo for this transfer window.
Buzzword bingo. Yeah.
Buzzword bingos, right?
Buzzword bingo. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a new one we've not heard of soon. But, I mean, Cookie, it's interesting, right? Because, like, if we look at another player that we're linked with, Chelsea are the biggest ones linked with him. Surprise, surprise. They're linked with absolutely everybody.
Everyone, yeah.
And that one is Garnacho, which is, I would say that this would definitely be a signing if it happened that would split the fan base. I think this would definitely split the fan base. I think there's a player there. Whenever I watch him, you can see that he's a very good footballer. Yep. Finishing, decision-making needs to get better. But for me, I look at him and go, is all the, that kind of hullabaloo My mum used to say that. Is the hullabaloo that's surrounding this player, is it more to do with the circus at Man United rather than the player himself? What do you make of Garnacho?
I differ a bit with you, Savva.
Sure.
I like him to a point. Yeah, I do like him to a point. I think, as I've said on our streams, he's very theatrical. Very theatrical.
I agree.
You know, he misses, and it's like, oh, it's the end of the world. You know, it's like all that. I don't like all that sort of stuff. For me, get on with it, mate. Get on with it. You've missed that one. That's fine. Yeah.
Is that something that Frank could
absolutely
coach out of him? Like,
absolutely. And the other thing as well is, Savva, that there was a comment in your chat earlier that Thomas Frank likes players or it's looking like he likes players that, again, press all over the pitch. Now, in his interview, I think it was his first interview, he was asked a question, and he said that it doesn't matter if we're playing low block, mid block, wherever we are on the pitch, I want my players to press when we haven't got the ball. And Garnacho could be that type of player for him to be coached into when we haven't got the ball. This is what I want you to do. Yeah. And when you have got the ball, do what you're good at. You know, I've got no doubt. I do agree with you, Savva, that there's something there. You know what I mean? And everything that's been going on at Man United over the past couple of years, a bit like, you know, what's been going on at Spurs with the previous manager and the tactics and, you know, whatever else, you know, maybe, he could come in and be a different player for Tottenham, you know? Yeah, I'm not against it, but as long as the price is right, though, Sav, I wouldn't be going paying 60, 70 million quid for it.
Of course. I mean, but I think we've got to remember, this is a Man United side that need money. This is a Man United side that need money. They need players out the door. When I watched him first couple of years, he looks frustrating. But then again, I think most players that are young are frustrating because they haven't learned when to, you know, I think the difference between a top footballer and a good footballer is that decision-making, right? I mean, it's something that Ronaldo talks about it a lot about himself. He said for the first few years of his career, he said, I knew I was good, but he said people were frustrated with me because I didn't quite know, do I pass, do I shoot? I didn't quite know when to release the ball, when to beat a man again. And by the way, I'm not putting him in Ronaldo's bracket. I'm just using that as an example of what I said. Because you know what people are like. They'll say I'm comparing him to Ronaldo. But I think there's a good footballer there. And guys, again, caveat. I'm not saying, oh my God, must get Garnacho. He's my first choice. But if you ask me right now, all of our left-sided wingers or Garnacho, he pisses all over our left-sided wingers. That's how bad we've recruited. I think he's better than all of them. Much better. If we signed him, all I'm saying is I'm not going to get on the club's back. I think this is a player that Thomas Frank would grab and do what he did with an Mbuema, with a Vissa. I reckon he would. I reckon he'd turn him into a very good footballer. Just my opinion.
Yeah, no, to tell you the truth, right? Garnacho, I wouldn't mind him, right? And the best part about Garnacho is that it fits the profile for the club. You can say, no, the only thing is, right, is just whether like what Cookie says, right, whether the price will be met, right, whether it's going to be a 60 million or 70 million pound signing, right. But like what you say, Savva, is correct, right. He's quality above of what we have on the left wing. But the thing is that, like you said, will Frank be able to coach his, you know, some people might say his frustrations could be passion, right, because he's frustrated himself, right. And the thing is that, like what you said, Ronaldo says that it takes time for a young player to develop, to learn to be calm in his decisions when he makes them, to put in the correct ball, whether to shoot or whether to cross, whether to take on a player, right? It's all about decisions on how the player develops. And if we believe in Frank as a coach, that be able to coach it out of him, then it will be a good buy for us in the long term, right? But like you say again, you're comparing now, if you're going to bring in, will you take Grealish over Garnacho? That comes into the question again.
I'll take any of them. I'll take either of them on our left wing. I'm like,
no, Savva, I'll take both of them. You can say that along the line. We'll take both of them, right? Maybe Grealish will teach Garnacho something along the line, right? But we don't do that, right, Savva? We know we won't do that. But even if it's either or, we know at this moment in time, right? On our left, we've got Sonny still. We've got Odegaard there. whether Odobert played on the left or the right, and we got Matisse Tell. And like I said, we're stacked.
Hang on. You're forgetting a few boy wonders there, like Brian
Oh,
Hill,
we need more.
Yang,
Mikey Moore. Yeah, Mikey Moore, right?
Maybe Brian Hill is the missing ingredient. Maybe this is his year. Maybe.
Right. Has he been sold yet? He hasn't been sold yet. He's still there, right?
I don't think so. When they did the training videos the other day, I don't know if you guys saw this. It was
I saw it. I was saying, what? He's still there?
Yeah, they've got that one machine where they're sitting and they're lifting with their leg. Yeah. And the guy sitting next to them he's going push and pull, push and pull. And all these footballers with their massive hamstrings and calves and power. And then Brian Hill sits on it like this little skinny chicken leg pushing up. And I'm like, This guy is still at Tottenham. And guys, this is the shame of all the players you mentioned and I mentioned, Eugene. On our left side, we can play Son, who's 33 and going the other way. We can play Moore, who's 17 and for me not ready. Hill, who is not right for this league. We've got Odobert, who can play right and left. For me, meh. We've got Yang, who definitely is not ready, needs to go out and have another loan. Richarlison can play there, not good enough. I've missed one. Someone else, right? You've got Tell, who is meh. All of those players have been signed. Other than Son, we've signed all of those players in the last 3-4 seasons, right? And yet between them, if you added up those transfer fees for Hill and Tell and Odobert and Yang, and look at all of those players, and you think, we still haven't got a good left winger. we still haven't got a top left winger.
No, yeah. And you add up you take out Son, right? You add up all the prices of the transfer window there, right? Tell 45, Odobert 30, right? That's already 75 million there, right? And of course, you talk about Yang is 5, and then Moore is free, right? But like you said, we don't have someone in who can straight away take over that position from Son. Hey,
big up, Stanley.
Stanley, yeah. He wants attention now. Say something, Stanley.
Oh, Stanley. I like blowing into his mouth when he's yawning. He hates me. But it's mad. Like, I grew up watching the first wingers I proper watched were like the Waddles, right?
Yeah.
And then I got to see the David Ginolas. You know, we've seen even Aaron Lennon and Gareth Bale,
Ralph Coates.
A bit before my time. But now I'm watching fans go, I think Tell could be good. I think, come on, man, what are we doing? What's wrong, Bubba? You wanted to come up. Didn't you? You want to go down again? Jesus Christ. Bless his little heart. Yeah, butter wouldn't melt. But surely now, Spurs, go and get a Mikatadze. Go and get a Jack Grealish. Go and get somebody where we all go, that's our first choice left winger. Because right now, I'll tell you what, let's do this test. Everybody in the chat, right now, and be serious, right now, right? If I said to you, of all the players in our squad, who for you starts on the left wing? Right now, with the squad we've got, who is your left-sided footballer? I'm guessing Kudus is the right. Who starts on the left-hand side for everyone in the chat?
For me,
and I bet you we get all different answers. And you know why? Because it tells you none of them are that great. Yeah. See, look, already, I've got Johnson, Son, Tell, Solomon still at the club. We missed him. Yeah, Solomon.
Yeah.
Look at
for me, I'll be Son, right? Yeah.
Odobert, they're all useless. Tell, Son, Tell. I mean, the fact that we want Tell, I mean, this is truly worrying for me. But hey, it is what it is. Sonny. Oh, I don't know, guys.
No, but to tell the truth, right? If for Moore, right? For Mikey Moore, I will play him in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup in the early rounds. Let him have a run out. That's a few things that we have not seen, right? For being a Spurs fan, we never see our youngsters actually have a run out in the early rounds of the domestic cups when the challenge is not that intense. You know, you're not playing a Premier League team if we don't get a Premier League team, right? And give them a chance to prove themselves, right? So all I can say now, on the left, right, we are shambles. right? We can't even decide who we want. And of course, in the end, Archie Gray, he needs to play there too.
Eugene, you look. There's Tells, there's Solomons, there's Odebers, there's Sunnies. I've seen about 5 different names. I guarantee if I said right now who starts on the right wing, everyone says, let's try it. Who are you having on the right wing?
Kudus.
Kudus all day.
Kudus, right? But look at the left side. That's embarrassing. We should have a Matoma. We should have a Grealish. We should have a Mikatadze. We should have a Fofana. You know, it's madness how bad we are on that left-hand side.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, Sav, we can go back to the conversation again. We're struggling on the left. For me, I think there's going to be times where he plays Maddison out there cutting in. I really do.
I'd rather that, Mark. I'd rather that than any of the left-sided players we've got.
I just think he'll play him out there. Not all the time, but I think, you know, when he sees the opportunity, he'll put Maddison on the left, especially when there's a Kulu fit as well. You know, he'll fit in. And the other thing that I know we're talking about where we're weak and stuff like that, but what people have got to remember is as well, and I'm sure that the chat are fully aware, we're in the Champions League this year.
I know.
Right? We've made one signing. We've made 1.5 signings with Morgan Gibbs White, right? The benefit the players are going to get is that most of the first team squad players will get used throughout the season, Savva. You know that. There'll be rotation at some point. Other players will come in. My big thing about that is that, as we all know, as it stands now, the squad is not strong enough, right? The whole squad, has got to be lifted by first team signings that are coming in so that we can compete. Because when that don't happen and we go out in the FA Cup in the 4th round and we get knocked out of the Champions League and we're struggling, we play a top team and get beat or whatever in the Carling Cup. You know what I mean? And we get to January, February, and we're not in anything again. Everyone will be calling for him to be out. Mm-hmm. You know, if we're sitting 10th, 11th, 12th in the league. You know what I mean? It's going to be an hard season, a really hard season. Mm-hmm. Spurs have got to pull their finger out of their backside and get going on transfers and good transfers now.
And quick, not the last week of August, like now.
Yes, it's always been like that. No, but the thing is that, right, you talk about the Champions League, right? The worst part about the Champions League, right, we have a quota of 4 or 6 players, right, that has to come from our academy. Remember? That's why last season in the Europa League, right, we had Austin there, we had Whiteman there, right? We had 3 goalkeepers, you know, registered in the Europa League, which actually you don't need to do that, right? And the problem now is that what I see now, of course, we were linked to, you know, Kyle Walker-Peters, right, to come back and all that things, right? But now he's gone. I'm not sure where he's gone to now. Is it Besiktas or somewhere else, right? Who can we bring in now to actually improve our squad for the Champions League? Because all I see is, right, in our Champions League, right, the registration, you will see more will be there, right? I think Ajayi will still be there. Oluseyi will still be there, all right? Austin will be there, or maybe Whiteman, I'm not sure, right? To fit that 6 homegrown academy players in our squad, right? And usually these players, right, are just there to fill up the spots. And then apart from that, then we have to improve, right, on our rest of the squad, right? And like what Cookie says is very true. We are really, really weak on that, because to tell the truth, if we don't improve on that, right, it's going to be an embarrassing Champions League campaign for us. Hopefully not. That's all I can say. But it depends, right? The draw is not out. When the Champions League draws comes out, then we know who we're playing and, you know, what kind of a show we're going to have. Because nowadays in the Champions League, we play 8 games, right? And out of the 8 games, most probably we're going to play four teams which are actually below average, right? And another maybe same level as us, another 2 teams, and then of course there'll be two top tier teams that we have to play against, because I think we are seeded in pot 3 or something like that. So we know our levels in the Champions League. So like, come on, we've been through this before, guys, right? Every season, whenever we reach a Champions League, right, how many times have we actually improved to become a Champions League? You know, are we going to challenge for it? That's my question, right? But now, players coming in for Spurs, we know the profile has been set. Unless we break this cycle and move out of this bubble, that go into a better, right, a more experienced kind of players coming in to bring us to the next level. That's all I can say.
Agreed.
It just feels so obvious, though, doesn't it? Like, you know, when I know that people say, oh, these football fans, they just moan and complain. It just feels that what we're asking for is just what is obvious, right? You've got to upskill some positions on the pitch. I appreciate you're not going to do all 11 in one window, but surely you get your main three, at least three. Get your main three in. Maybe then you get a couple that are younger and up and coming, sure. But we go the other way. We go, let's upskill one position and we'll bring in 4 or 5 young and up and comers. And it's kind of like, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that so many of these younger, lesser known players at this stage join us. If I was a player, I'd look and go, hang on, like, you've signed me. I'm a 20-year-old, 19-year-old centre-back. You've signed me, but you've also got Phillips and Dorrington and Vuskovic and Dragosin and Danso and Van der Ven and Romero. I'd be looking and going, where am I playing? Like, at what stage am I getting game time? So I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I'm just a bit, Mark, you know, I tried to be so optimistic at the beginning of this summer.
Of course, we all do, mate. But
and now I'm just slowly, but like teams like Chelsea and Liverpool, when they get the Chelsea or Liverpool want Paulinho, for example, they get that information, and then it's about 2 days later, it's club to club talks are happening. Spurs is always, well, no talks yet. They're interested. They're monitoring. And you know, when you think, oh my God, like, oh, just how different, listen, how difficult can it be? We're not buying Florian Wirtz. We're not trying to take Alexander Isak from Newcastle for 120 million. We're talking about 30 million pound footballers. Oh, I don't know.
I agree, mate. At the end of the day, yeah, we'll say it again. It's not going to happen overnight, if it ever happened at all. Do you know what I mean? We all know how Mr. Levy works in the transfer windows. Some things never change, you know. But a couple of weeks ago, we was given that hope that because of the changes that have happened upstairs and so on and so forth. Charrington coming in, Vinay coming in, everyone going. You know what I'm getting at is, Eugene, know that when they sign Kudus, yeah, and then 24 hours you're getting the Morgan Gibbs White news. Spurs don't go like that. We don't roll like that. So all of a sudden there's a massive uplift in the Spurs fan base. Yeah, geez, we're signing 2 first-team players within 24 hours. 6 weeks to go. If we get another 2 in, I think everyone would be happy if we got 4 first-team players in a window, you know, as a start. And then move on to January, maybe get another one if we need one, and then so on again next year. But we just don't move like that. We're never going to move like that while Daniel Levy's here. It's just not going to happen. You know, there'll be the odd one here, the odd one there, but we're just not interested in building a team to win things. It just seems like they keep getting the coaches in, asking the coaches to work miracles, whoever it is that comes in. At least we know we've got a coach now. At least we can see from what we've seen so far, the fellas on the training pitch with his coaches working with the players. And that, at the end of the day, is all we can ask for. You know, they're going to improve from last year. I've said that all those players, the way they were played over 2 years, they're going to be coached in another way. Let's hope they're not alien to it. Let's hope they get on with it, improve as players. And then all we can do is hope that players come in that improve the first team squad, mate. I'm the same as you, lads. I want to see 4 now. You know what I mean? Get 4 in this window and at least show we mean a bit of business. But I don't know if we're going to do that or not, fellas. I really don't.
Guys, the thing is very simple, right? I think we will find out the crux of our squad, right, when we go over to Asia, right, to play the North London Derby and Newcastle in South Korea, right? Then we will know who is going to be actually in our team. then don't forget, right, guys, I've not heard a single news about Richarlison, right? The last time I heard the news about Richarlison was Palmeiras was interested in him, right? And that was during the Club World Cup. And now everything has gone quiet, but maybe something's being worked out there, because the last time I heard Levy wanted 55 million pounds for him, but then I'm saying that Palmeiras can't afford 55 million pounds for Richarlison. So maybe if we can offload him for 25, 30 million pounds, that will do us good. You can say not to give us more money in the coffers. Like, a lot of people don't want to believe that we still have to sell to buy, right? We still have to sell to buy. So I think we really splurge our money on Kudus, one shot off, right? And don't forget, the Matisse Tell deal was some sort of understanding.
Sorry, this is wrong, by the way. Sorry, this is wrong. Frank didn't sign Matisse Tell. Matisse Tell signed before Frank even joined the club.
Yeah.
I feel like this is wrong. It's not about you disagreeing. By the way, listen, I'd hate it if everyone agreed with me all the time. God, it would be boring. But when you're saying Frank has made the decision to take him, back him, listen, it's again, when fans say this, just back him. So you don't want a better player than Matisse Tell. This is what I'm asking. You know, we want better players, yeah? When you're saying, if not, he's a weak manager that's already been levied. I hate this. It's such a childish saying, right? Every manager can't get every footballer they want, for sure. But why on earth is the Tell deal being put on Thomas Frank when he wasn't even the manager of the club when we signed him? It's madness. But look, guys, I need to do some super chats, and then I do need to end the show, because I am going over to join Never a Foul, and I'm going to take all of you. I'm going to take all of you with me. Big up, shall we say? First of all, going back to this. So there you go. We talked about Garnacho. Thank you very much, SOF. Really appreciate you. I agree. I think he fits the profile. I think Cochrane would coach him, and Frank would coach him brilliantly. So absolutely, my man. Thank you for that. Donna Cullen has said, Mr. Savva, you're looking fresh and young today. Doesn't say a lot for me how I look on the other days then, does it? But thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Big up to Tony Rodriguez, who's come in with a super sticker. Much love, my man. Really appreciate it. Thank you very, very, very much. Really appreciate that. Big up to my man, Rodney Roberts, who said, Savva, big up, fella. Hope you're in good spirit. Yeah, man, listen, the last few days have been challenging. Lots of people that just want to hate and try and bring you down. It is what it is. They hate for no reason. That's all it is. They hate for no reason. So I'll keep doing what I'm doing. And that allows me to plug the Spurs 5, which I will do in a minute. But big up to you, Rodney. Big up to my man, Ryan Trestane. Very generous. He said, Mark, as long as there's consistency and moving up the league, I'm happy. And as we have a coach, that's what we will do. And we have someone who can actually change tactics. Me and Savva wanted that. Ryan, I think most Spurs fans, if you put aside the whole pantomime of Ange in, Ange out, most Spurs fans know that we need a coach that was going to coach these footballers better. We've got Spurs players now like Papa Sarr coming out and saying, we didn't down tools. We did go into every game wanting to win. We just weren't good enough. And I think that speaks volumes. Big up to you, Ryan. I really appreciate that. Guys and girls, I'm going to ask a quick favor. I'm going to put the link in right now. There's 524 of you. The link I'm putting in now is for the Spurs 5. Okay. You've been terrible at subscribing to my channel today, by the way. Only 3 subscribers in 2 hours. And we are so close to 20K as well. But this link here, the Spurs 5, we are live tonight for our debut show that goes live at 8 p.m. I will be live at 7, and then I'll take everyone over with me. Obviously, that old school YouTube technique. I'll be live at 7, take everyone with me. If you've already subscribed to Henry Wright's old channel, then you will already be subscribed. If you haven't, please get over there and subscribe and join us tonight at 8 p.m. We've got our subjects, we've got our format sorted. We'll see you then. Much love to Paul Langley, who has sent a super sticker as well. Thank you very much, my man. Thank you. Already 10 people have gone over and subscribed to the Spurs 5. So if anyone else wants to do that, that would be amazing. Stick the link in. Mark, stick your link in. Stick your link in.
Get in, Sheriff. What's the matter with you? Get it in there.
Quickly.
Stick your link in and stick my link in.
Stick the links in quickly. Subscribe to everybody. Subscribe to all these small channels that I'm hoping to bury and that they never see the light of day because I only want my content on the internet.
Bury me, Savva. Bury me. Big star.
I am the new Mr. Beast, and we're monopolizing with my 20,000 channel. I'm monopolizing YouTube. Big up to you all. Take care. There is the Two Marks Show. Please subscribe to those guys as well. Somebody please quickly put in Eugene's channel quickly because I need to go. I really need to go. Come on, people. Big up, Paul. Thank you for the super sticker, by the way. We've now 15 of you have subscribed to the Spurs 5. 15. We can get another 15.
Sav, can I just say something? I know you need to go. Just really quickly. Good luck to you and the lads with your new channel. Yeah, you ain't blocking anyone, by the way. You're doing your thing. Good luck to you, mate. And I hope for you and all the lads, it works out well for you. Good luck.
Thank you very
much.
much.
Yeah. Good luck. But actually, you guys don't need luck, right? You guys are really good. So yeah.
Thank you. I've never known so much fuss over 5 blokes that just want to talk about Spurs. I've never known. I'll tell you the funny thing about it just before we go. It's all the people that are making the videos that don't understand how YouTube algorithms work are telling the rest of the internet how YouTube algorithms work. Yeah. It's simple. I've said this to everyone, right? I've said this to everyone. Make your content, make it good, make it consistent. And if people like you, they watch. If they don't like you, they don't. Us going live at the same time as anyone else, they'll watch us if they prefer us. If they prefer someone else, they'll watch someone else. That's life. Yeah, so don't listen to all this about shadow banning, burying channels. That's not how YouTube algorithm works at all, right? Much love. Take care. I'm taking you all over to Never a Foul. Come and join me there. When you get there, say Savva Raid. See you later. And as always, come on.
You Spurs.